Thank you, sir, for making a crisp and effective case for the issue. We understand that as urbanization continues to rise, efficient parking solutions are necessary to manage congestion, improve convenience, and optimize available space. Luckily for us today, we have Mr. Tauseef Motiwala, who has completed many prestigious projects that include 35 plus projects in Mumbai, quite a few in South Mumbai, a high-end residential complex in Chennai, 3 projects in North India, and a total more than 1,100 car spaces, and one of the most prestigious commercial project in Surat for 500 plus car spaces to guide us about the parking solutions for high-rise building. He has aced the planning of solar power amalgamated to the parking system to generate electricity using the concept of solar technologies, converting sunlight into electrical energy, either through photovoltaic panels or through mirrors that concentrate solar radiations to eventually generate electricity or to be stored in battery. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Tauseef Motiwala.
Thank you, sis, for the same. Can we start?
We'll just felicitate you first, and then we can start with the lecture. Everyone, Engineer Shantilal Jain felicitating Mr. Tauseef Motiwala.
I'll start. At first, I thank you, sis, for your introduction. I'm happy to see everybody and I'm grateful for the time taken on a Saturday. Great, fantastic. Shantilalji, as you saw, has an amazing sense of humor. I'm very thankful to the person who came before me and said a few words about constraints in car parking today. So I can make it short in that sense that we all are into this issue just because of issues already there in the market. We can say on-street car parking is a major concern. When you're traveling on the road, you see cars parked on both sides and hardly 2 cars can go. So bottom line is, it's all about constraints. In today's world, we all believe that the best parking is like podium parking or the basement parking. You know, we don't go in any system. Because you all know that when you say go for a tower parking system, something like this, you maybe have about 40 cars and only 1 car elevator. So moreover, you have only 1 entry exit. So just imagine at 8:30 a.m. in the morning when there are 40 guys trying to go to their offices and he checks his cell phone. I mean, assumingly the vendor is given a mobile application, he checks you are 9th in the queue and your waiting time is about 38 minutes. He's shocked. He has to go for a meeting urgently. So bottom line is, this is all about constraints. We are trying to give a solution whereby because of constraints, we have to offer this or something like this or something like this. We don't have options. We again reiterate everybody, right from Istron to us. Istron is a vendor, we as consultants, that the best parking is normal conventional car parking. Just give a few options to you. I'll just show a small video to start with. Now, the need of the hour in Bombay, as people are doing, that you have a fully automatic car parking system. Yeah, you can hear me better? Is it visible? Yeah, so what I'm showing now, I mean, as a video, which I think you can see, yeah, is a fully automatic car parking system. Yeah. Is it visible now? Yeah. It's a fully automatic car parking system. Now, in places like Jammu and many other parts of India, where the roads are very old, you cannot revamp. Something like Bhindi Bazaar, where there was a cluster development. I mean, about 140 buildings of 3 floors each were broken down, and they will have about maybe 30 buildings of 23 floors. The road will be new, everything will be new. So this is not possible in all parts of Bombay. So what you see now is a fully automatic car parking. say maybe for about 500 cars with about say 8 lifts. The customer parks the car in the elevator, and once the length, height, width, everything is checked, the car is parked at the assigned floor at the assigned slot. We have vendors in India doing it. iStore is doing it in some parts of India. You see, now the robotic lift is going back to pick up another car. I mean, by the time the car is parked at the assigned slot, the lift is going back to pick up another car. So there are many options in this. We'll discuss that in short. And the benefit here is that in the traditional way, you get about say 2.5 by 5.5 meters for one car. Here, there is no human involved. So the error ratio is hardly about half a millimeter. So you need about 2.1 meters by about 5.5. And once the customer comes back, the car is parked at the assigned slot. As you can see in 2 projects in BKC for about 1080 cars done by Vadua builders. But this is a constraint. This is not something which is recommended. When there is no option for you to park cars, you go for an automatic car parking system. It's costly for sure. You can imagine 500 cars, about 8 lifts. You can see the car being retrieved here. Yeah. So when the car is parked at the assigned slot, the lift goes back to pick up another car. Right. Now we'll discuss a few options in the market. Okay. Now people are trying, builders are trying to make things very high end. You can see it properly? Yeah. You see the car elevator here? It looks like a 7-star hotel, you know. So the purpose is to see to it that aesthetics is planned with technical planning. The project looks good. And say in places like Walkeshwar or maybe the other part of South Bombay, where the returns are good, you make a very high end project, a car elevator parking about 50-60 cars. You see options like this in many parts of Bombay. We've got a building say of about 23 floors and a small 1x1 car tower being planned next to it. Now the problem here is again the same thing. So you've got about 50 cars for one lift. At times we are enforced to plan about 100 cars per lift. The best parking indeed is a stack parking system. Very economical, about 75,000 per space. But the constraint here is to remove the upper car, the lower car has to be taken out. And to solve the problem, we also have a 2-level puzzle parking system, whereby it is not required to remove any car, to retrieve any car. You see this simple 2 towers of 1x1. You can make it in steel and civil as well. Sorry? Yeah. Then in the market you've got something like chess parking. It moves like a chessboard, where say you can park about 1,000 cars through about 10 lifts, you know. In tower parking it moves only left, right. Here it can move in many directions. I'm sure this would not be done ever in India or in Mumbai for sure. This is plain vertical car parking system. I mean, this would, at today's design, I think it's very difficult. Maybe if at all we go for so-called fully equipped electrical cars in India, 100%, then maybe we can have this. It goes like a bed, you know. You reduce the car parking space to about maybe 15%. As you see, in many high-end projects where they want to showcase their projects in a very big way, or say, example, it's say for Mercedes car or something, they have car parking like this, you know. Not in Mumbai for sure, till date. Now, another option in the market which is not recommended, but something where nothing is possible. Say you have a small building of about 20 floors, no parking at all, nothing is there. You have a small garden and you just have one entry exit. And with that one entry exit, you park maybe 30 odd cars below the garden. So you've got 2 gardens like this and a building, and you got this planned. Now you also have something coming up in the market as called semicircular car parking system. You've got one lift, and you can park about, say, 80 odd cars through this. Now, we all have seen a car parking tower, say a 1x1 tower or a 2x2 tower. Now, this is a plus tower, where you got maybe 4 cars at each level. And I'm sure with the craze of bikes coming up in the generation today, you will need something like this. Something like multi-level mechanical parking for the bikes. 3 levels. This can be enhanced to even 4-5 levels if required. Pune, if you go, I'm sure everybody knows Pune much better than me, where even the guys who have got maybe 100 CR in the bank, they travel by bikes at times to reach on time. It's a very common photograph. We hope in the next 30 years, Shantilalji plans something like this in one of his projects, and we get a high-end circular car parking tower. This is a car parking tower, a car parking system. In a car parking tower which can be in civil and steel, as is in Thane. So, what do we do as such? Now, we as consultants, what we do is, we analyze the plot size and we try and see to it that we give a solution which is cost effective, which has very less maintenance in the future, which has a very reasonable retrieval time, and the builder spends less as compared to what he plans in terms of civil planning. Say if he plans for 4 podiums or 4 basements, the cost involved is massive. And say for example, if he goes for a tower parking system, for instance, he has to plan something about 11 months before the OC. In a very big project where the cost is about 100 CR, he has to spend about 15 crores in those initial planning of 3-4 podiums or basements. Now with this, he has to spend about 5 CR about 11 months before the OC. So in general, he is saving the cost plus the liquid cash flow is maintained. So apart from helping builders and developers and government bodies, we also do a technical audit, of once a system is installed. At times there are some mistakes, so we try and politely give our feedback to try and enhance it and make it better. Now, before I end my little speech here, say if you go to Japan, I'm sure Japan is about roughly, to my knowledge, about maybe 1/4 of Maharashtra. And Japan's one company, Mitsubishi, the exports of Mitsubishi, I think around 1997. I repeat, Japan is about 1/3 of Maharashtra, and Japan's one company, Mitsubishi, the exports of Mitsubishi in around 1997 was more than the entire exports of India. What do they do? If you go to Japan, I've never been to Japan, but if you go to Japan and analyze the 40-floor building, a small garden, where is the car park? Where is the car park? You talk to somebody and somebody says, there is a 15-level car park below the garden for about 400 cars. And you got a 40-floor building. So bottom line, they justify the fact that they are 1/3 of Maharashtra and still they are planning better, and they see to it that they give better infrastructure to their residents. Before I end, just some small things for you. Okay. This is a nutshell of what people do in the market. This is that simple semicircle automatic parking system. Just 2 minutes more. It's a 2x2 car parking tower. This is chest parking system. Same chest parking system. We did this in Valkeshwar around 2012. This is what I think abroad people do. They have a normal planned seal structure. I'll show you something better in that. So this is what is done abroad. Just an option for the structural experts here. Before I end, just a recap of a few things. There is a combination of car parks planned. This is actually for the car parking tower where you got a service staircase planned. This is that one by one tower on the other side, not vertical but horizontal. It's a very neat podium. It is that high-end robotic car parking. I think this is that Gulab Park, Mahalakshmi. This is an image of a fully automatic car parking system. This is that bike 3-level parking system. This is that chest parking. Some countries make it really high-end. Even the car parking looks great. This is a 2-level above and one in the pit. Most cost-effective system to residents today. This is how a car park looks like in a very high-end building where you got say about 400 cars through about 5 lifts. There is a project in Bombay which I cannot tell you. They are planning multi-level car parking for the buses. They get about 80 buses in a day, so they are planning for that. This is like the chest parking system. This is rotary car parking system, not recommended. Has a market share of about 0.5% in India, but where you cannot do anything, you can have a rotary car park system. You can have a covering on all sides to make it slightly safe. This is that puzzle parking system. This is that system where you got only one entry exit into about 30 cars. Yeah, this one. This is where you don't have any car park at all, and after putting up double parkers, you end up having conventional cars parked in the basement, and you have a valet being kept very busy just to move around other cars when he wants to remove the upper car. Now you see, if you want to remove the upper car, blue, to your left, 2 cars have to be removed first, then a car below it has to be removed, and then the other car has to be taken out. So this is an example of what constraint people are facing. The covered car park shown to enhance beautification. This is where a very high-end sensor allocates the car parking number and tells you which car is parked where in a normal conventional car park. This is some very smart architects planning through structural designing tilted car parking to reduce driveway by about 14%. Just 2 minutes more and then I wipe off. The look of a parking of 3-level. Yeah, this is a guidance mechanism where the manager sees an entire thing working in his computer. The city plan, hopefully in Bombay, will have better infrastructure very soon for our kids to follow. The same thing in Japan, where you don't see anything. Where is the car park? And you got maybe 400 cars below the garden. You see this simple gardens club with about 400 cars. And the last thing before I end, this is like maybe a so-called a barricade to close out a car park. I'm sure a car park looks shabby. So once this is closed, this thing makes it look more good. And for the kids to analyze when they roam around the entire building, analyzing is kone mein kya, us kone mein kya hai. I remember when I was a kid, I roamed the entire building. It was a huge setup, so I knew everything. Is kone mein kya pada hai, wahan kya pada hai. So bottom line is, when you cover up the car park and you've got a 4-meter ka pit, about 14 feet pit, a kid cannot fall. So you can have something like this planned. Okay? Thank you everybody for your time, and I hope we all plan better with a lot of aesthetic sense, on a humble note, to see to it that we have world-class infrastructure coming up in Bombay as well. We are improving drastically, but maybe we are sure we can do it better. Okay? Thank you for your time. God bless.
Thank you, sir, for making a gist of how, by adopting smart technology, automated parking systems, and better planning strategies, the urban developers and the building managers can effectively address the parking challenges.